Hello, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, May 13th, 2024. Here for my weekly cross-stitching update. I am pretty happy with what I was able to get done this week, and looking forward to this coming week, although I'm not sure how much I'll get done this week. Probably still okay, but there is a lot going on this week in regular life. First, my 1, 2, 3 stitch order came in that I mentioned last time. And it's basically just kitting things up that I already had, but I thought it's still fun to show. So first I got some threads. These are water lilies and DMC variations, so they're like variegated ones, that I needed for spring barn quilt, which is what I picked up at my local needlepoint shop. I already had blush water lilies, which is one of the called for. I'm switching the switching this out to do 6 like embroidery floss level stuff instead of the pearl cottons, and I'm going to do it on 24 count Congress cloth instead of the 18 count mono canvas. So I'm excited. Now I've got all the bits and bobs. Other than these, I just need regular DMC. So that is kitted up and ready to go. I think this is going to go on my maybe start next year list. I've got a list already, because of course I do. Then I got some Petite Treasure braid in white and gold. And this is finishing kitting up my Twisted Christmas sampler, which is by the Northern Expression Needlework. And I already have beads and DMC and sparkly fabric. So now I'm ready to go with that one. This is, I believe, I think it calls for Kreinik, but I switched it out to Petite Treasure braid. So now that's fully kitted. That's a planned start for this December. Then I got some beading needles, because these are special beading needles. Apparently the ones I got last time were sharp point. These are ball point. And what I discovered is when I'm working on my 1/1 on 40 count even weave projects, the 40 count Verdal, I prefer these for that. When I had the sharp pointed ones, I would pierce the fabric, and I don't think it's as much of a problem when I'm working on 40 count linen 1/1, but the Verdal even weave, I need a ball point. So I've been sharing my Bear Time Stories and Lollipop, my two of my kids' pieces. I've been sharing a needle back and forth between those pieces because I had run out. So now I'm excited. They can each get their own needle, and I can start more things on 40 count even weave and have a needle. And then I got some black 28 count Jobelin. I was thinking of doing 25 for this project, but if I do 28 count, I can get away with a half fat quarter, not a fat half, which is always appealing to me to save money. So this one is for Cross Stitch Studio Flowers and Flyers, the crop 2, and I think this is the smallest one, but I'm not planning to stitch the black. This part is not part of it, like this fake border, but like the bits behind the flowers and in the stripes, I'm not going to stitch. So I'll probably still stitch black that's like in the butterfly in an item, but not the background. So I thought that could be fun to try. So that's ready to go. This is all on my maybe start in 2025 list as well. So that's fun. I got all of that stuff. So now all those projects are ready to go. I guess we can jump into travel stitching. I worked on my temperature turtles yesterday, like I like to do. It was Mother's Day yesterday, so happy Mother's Day to all of you out there who were able to celebrate. And we didn't have a lot of time at home, but I did have time in the car, and I had a little bit, I worked on this a little bit at the very end of the night, just to get a little bit more in on it. So it's not as caught up as I would have wanted, but it's close. So this is 28 count Caribbean Blue Jobelin 1/1 full cross. So I've got the patches around the May turtle caught up, which is good, and a little bit done on I did these back appendages on the April turtle. I still have dark green on my needle, but I ran out of time last night. So I still need to finish the head and the front flipper and all the back stitching, straight stitches that are in the April turtle. And I don't know what this coming Sunday will look like because my parents are going to visit. That always means probably less stitching time. But we'll keep going on that one, whatever time I can get on it. And it is, oh yeah, I wanted to show you just the way year to year, this has been a very wet and cold year, and this is proof. So you see these top ones are mostly blues and greens. My mock-up from 2017, I think, like the March one is that the right one? Yeah, my January was warmer than March, but this is March this year, and last year it was already like half yellow and green. So, and then this was April, quite a bit more warm than this April. So kind of interesting how it all, it's been much cooler. I've kept the temperatures for 2017 as my mock-up temperatures because I created the hot temperature range for all my temperature pieces for my town. And this year got all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom of my temperature range. It hasn't done that since. There's been some years where it hasn't reached the top, some years where it hasn't reached the bottom. So it's like, well, I'm just going to keep using it though, because I want it to be consistent to show that yes, this was a hot year, this was a cold year, that kind of thing. So kind of interesting though how that works. Then I was able to do a good amount on my Cats and Hearts for April. This is by Kitty and Me Designs. I'm doing the whole series, and I'm a little behind at this point, but I'm still chipping away at these. I had a suggestion to maybe skip ahead and start the May one to work on it in the month and then finish them up later, but I think I might feel more behind if I had a bunch of unfinished ones rather than just continue straight through. So we'll see. I'm gonna stick with just continuing on with this. That, and I want to see how this looks when it's like finished. So I don't want to move on. So here is where this one's at now. These are all on 25 count white even weave 1/1 full cross. And I'm switching the cats to be DMC 535, which is a dark gray instead of the black 310 that's called for, because it's a lot more like Smokey, my cat. So I finished the yellows, and I did the lightest. It's pink now, but it's really technically a very light red, and then light red I'm working on right now, because it will eventually be red. So these are just the lighter shades of the red. So I have this top bit has both colors in it. A lot of this stuff has both colors in it. So I need to do the second lightest red down here still, and then I can move to the medium red. Yeah, so there's still a good amount left. And there's a cat's tail in here and the rest of the cat. So hopefully I can get a good chunk of that done this week. 100% don't think I'll finish this week, but just in case. We hope spring's eternal, right? This is what May looks like. So that'll be pretty. Blues and yellows. But yeah, probably won't get to that because there's still a lot left on April. So. I did work on my Castle Homecoming Club a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and show the top for the before and after, because I did some white clouds. Oh, this is 28 count ice blue Lugana, 1/1 full cross with a color conversion of Fancy Floss, and did one length of white in the clouds, and then finished this kind of tealy green was in tent over here. So I finished that color in the top scene, and then I'm starting in on the bush, which is a green that's only in the bushes. Once I finish those bushes, I can do the backstitching in the windows of the castle, so that'll be nice. So I'll probably keep chipping away at this in this fashion where I do some white and then some colors and some white and some colors. So I can get some of those clouds knocked out without being too boring. And I also worked on my flower teapot this week, chatting with my friend Desiree, and I'm up here in the rose pot now. I finished these corner motifs last time, so now I'm starting in on the pot. So I worked in the lid and some of the roses. This is on 32 count Tiki Oasis linen, 2/2 full cross by Oak Crown Studios is the name of the linen company. Fiber Arts Amy here on Flosstube. And yeah, that's looking pretty nice. So I finished like one small length of each of the colors of pink. I didn't want to go too far. And then I worked on the lid. So I think all the blue is done in the lid. So there's some white accents and there's some yellow gold bits around here. And green, I'm hoping soon I can do at least one length of backstitching as well. So I'm gonna try to be completing sections as I go down, so I can chip away at the backstitch as I go too. So that'll be fun. That's a nice one. And then my main pieces for this week, my 4 days I spent on Dragon Ride, and this is by Teresa Wensler. I got mine on Patterns Online, but now I believe the only place you can still find it is in this old magazine, Stitcher's World, September 1999. So if you can find that on eBay or somewhere, you could find this, but it's no longer in print, sadly. I worked on border for 4 days and it's still not done. But that's okay. So I'll be showing the before picture full screen, and now I'll put this up full screen so you can kind of see the difference. And this is 28 count light blue even weave by MCG Textiles, mostly 2/2. And I did all of the gold backstitching in the border. That's all done. And then I started working on the brown backstitching. That's actually not done yet. This side is done. This side is not done. So there's a little bit more of the boring backstitching. This side has been finished down to like here. So I have like this part left to do the straight backstitching. Then there's that same brown will be in the saddle, a little bit in the man. Then there's purple backstitching in the dragon, and the twisty bits of thick backstitching in the border plus the beading. So I still have 6 days slotted to this. So we'll see. We'll see if I have to bump anything as we get farther into the month. I'm giving it 2 days this week. So I'm hopeful I can get all that brown backstitching done in the border and in the saddle, you know, and the man. More would be icing on the cake. If I can get just that done, I'll be happy, but hopefully I can get at least that done. And yeah, that'll be fun to keep chipping away on that. I'd like to finish it by the end of the month, so hopefully I can do that. Friday, I was able to work on one of my full coverage pieces for WhipGo. It got called. This is Hidden Harbor Color Expansion, artwork by Andy Russell, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm stitching across the top using my typewriter method. There's little trees and stuff. I was just like seeing what I've been working on. I didn't look at the picture recently. I made it almost to the very edge, which is really cool. Not solidly, but some of the stitches are almost all the way over here. How I work a typewriter method is within a 10 by 10 square, I'll pick symbols within that 10 by 10 square, finish out my string wherever it runs, go back to that 10 by 10 square, pick the next symbol, stitch that, link the thread wherever it goes, and then work my way with the 10 by 10 squares, choosing symbols across. So I start with my symbols in that 10 by 10 square across the top, but they can kind of scatter. So what I've been doing on this one is I've always also been taking pictures every time I finish a 10 by 10 square, and it's not the second I finish the square, it's when I finish the string that I've chosen from that 10 by 10 square. So if it's the last symbol that's unstitched in that square, I'll pull that color wherever it goes, then that is when I take a picture. Once I show you, I think I'll go through my pictures every time I show this, like post rotation on here, because this will be years before this is done, and I think it'll be fun to show it, you know, square by square, the little montage of pictures every time I show it on here. I think that'd be fun. So what I did this time, you'll see a lot of scattered stitches throughout here because I was trying really hard to focus on the 10 by 10 square on the top. So if a color like this dark blue, it runs down here a little bit, but it also is scattered across here. So I chose, instead of coming down, to go over, so that when I get to that point across my 10 by 10 blocks along the top row, that color will be done already over here. So there'll be less to stitch to finish off the top row, if that makes sense. So it's kind of my thought process on that. So I think I will show you the montage of pictures that I've been taking since I started this project. I'm not exactly sure when. It's been a year or two because I don't work on it all that often. And then I'll show this one at the end. So here is this, and I am very, very happy with how I went on this one. It's a little bit closer to this edge than it was to this edge, so I'm thinking my fabric was maybe slightly not even, but that's okay. I have enough margin. This is literally 1 or 2 stitches from the edge. So this is 28 count tea-dyed Monaco 1/1 full cross. I stitched 239 on Friday and 646 on Saturday, which was fun. Total being 885 stitches this rotation, and it's now at 2.13%. So I got the sky all finished on that top 10 by 10 row, and then I started working on greens and tans and more blues throughout the top of these hills, which is really fun. So yeah, I was trying, when I found a color, I checked first if it was anywhere up here and stitched it there first. And then if I didn't have any more stitches in the top 10 by 10 row, then I went back and checked to see if it was anywhere down here as well. So I had some here that got added, some in here that got added, you know, so it was a little bit more. And obviously they'll run down into the next rows if that's where the color goes. So yeah, that's pretty fun. I really had fun with that one. This one is really enjoyable because the colors are all very pretty. There's no bad colors in this one. So that was a lot of fun. WhipGo block checked off for that. And then on Sunday, I worked on, opened right to it, Spring Montage by Janet Stever, charted by Pain-Free Crafts. This was another one. I'm working the same way, 10 by 10 squares across the top. I'm trying to finish them. I finished one 10 by 10 square. I think on Hidden Harbor, I finished 4 this time around. But this one, I've been working in picking symbols right around this flower. So it's been a lot of confetti, lots of colors. This time around, I got a couple colors, 2 or 3 colors that had a good amount of stitches in them. So I felt a little bit more productive this time. 357 stitches, so not too shabby. And for one day on a full cross project. So this is 28 count mushroom Lugana 1/1 full cross. And it's now at 2.05%. So I moved up over that 2% mark, which is fun. And got 2 or 3 colors that were darker, so you can definitely see those, and a yellow along the top. Yeah, so that was fun. I like that. Looks like I have a fuzz or something right here. So yeah, that one's a fun one. I'll pull that out if I can. On Sunday, my parents visiting we play a lot of board games when they're here, so that's why I don't get a lot of stitching. So I'll try to do, on Sunday, I'll try to do what I can on Temperature Turtles, and I like to get at least 100 stitches on this one, even when they're visiting, and I can usually get that much, so it won't be a lot. It won't be a lot on this one this week, but hopefully I can get 100. I might break my rules strictly with the temperature typewriter method, and choose a symbol that has a lot. So I can, if I only get a time to do one length of thread, I can get 100 stitches without scattered stitches, because when they're scattered, it takes more counting, more time. But if it's more blocky, like in the background or something, I can hopefully get that in with the time that I have. So that's likely what I'll work on next week, is maybe some background. All right, so this week my plans are to go back to my family pieces. So I'm gonna do 2 days on Visit Endor by Country Magic Stitch. This is for my oldest son. I have 1 more year to finish this before he graduates high school. So this is where this is at now. This is 28 count Dove Gray Monaco, 2/1 half stitches. And so hopefully I'll get a nice amount on this one today and tomorrow. And then I will work on Dragon Ride for 2 days. Hopefully get that brown back stitching done, and if I get anything else done, that will be icing on the cake. And then I'll work on Ashley's Roses, which is one of my non-full coverage WhipGo draws. I have 2 WhipGo boards this year, full coverage and non-full coverage. So this is one of the ones that was called for May on my non-full coverage WhipGo board, Ashley's Roses. I'm up here still, and I would love to start working on her, but I don't want to get into her and then have to come back to work on the top, and because I stitch in hand with my hand holding the fabric on the bottom. So if I have started to stitch the pretty part of her and then I have to come back to stitch this, I'm holding her with my hand, and then there's more risk of, hand oils and messing up the stitches and all of that. So I'd like to keep chipping away at the top part. I'm not sure here how much I have left of that, but let's see, shall we? This is, I believe, 32 count cream linen 2/2 full cross. I think I have come to here is done. So this half is what is left to do. And I now have this with my digital working copy where I can highlight with my finger. So I'm hoping that'll go not too tricky. I think when I was working on it with just my paper pattern, it was getting a little bit hard, because there's a few colors in here and it was a little hard to see. This is her hand getting started here. So that's the center. So yeah, lots to work on over here. So hopefully, hopefully I can get some nice progress on that. That'll be Friday and Saturday. Friday, we do have a graduation party to go to. So I may not get a whole lot done on Friday, but hopefully I can get a good amount of time on Saturday. And then Sunday, I'll try to do a little bit on spring montage again. So that's my plans for this week. And yeah, I'm excited about it. It is a busy week. I have something almost every night, except for Monday, today, and Saturday. So I might be encroaching a little bit on my stitching time, but at least a couple of those I could probably bring my travel stitch along and do a little bit of that while I'm listening or waiting, but yeah. So anyways, I'm excited about that, and I hope you have a wonderful time working on whatever you're working on this week, and happy stitching.